Hi, what is up, YouTube? How we doing? Hope y'all doing great. I am very excited because Rockstar just announced a couple hours ago that we are going to be getting an extended look at GTA 6 August 27th on Netflix. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. I'm just saying, like, I'm very excited. I'm very, what I'm saying? I'm very fidgety right now because, like, obviously I have so much excitement because of y'all already know how I feel about GTA 6. I'll probably be reacting to it. Obviously the reaction is gonna come out a couple hours later because obviously like Netflix is not gonna be fucking with the copyright and shit, so we're gonna have to wait like 6 hours, and then obviously I think it's going to be like available to everybody else like on Rockstar's YouTube channel. But I'm very excited to see some gameplay. It sounds like an extended look is going to be either gameplay or like more info about the game in itself and like what you can do in the game. Anyways, we're not here to talk about that. Today we're here to talk about Aninews cut content. He just dropped the video like a couple hours ago. And it is cut content for, I believe, episode 6. We're on episode 6, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, we're going to be reacting to that and see what they left off. The video is 20 hours long, 20 minutes long, sorry, which means that they probably cut a lot of stuff from this episode. But yeah, any news cut content, the original video is going to be in the description down below if you want to go watch it uninterrupted. Shout out to Any News. Let's get straight to it. Let's go.
Very pivotal character moments took place
Oh
this
yeah, Sarah came back.
First, we had Rudy take accountability and face his past head-on. Then
Yep.
we had EIRS leverage her years of training and earn herself the rank of Sword King.
I wish that
The
whole
former
part was
pretty
longer.
much as we saw. Only a few extra details built.
Bro, I say this every time, but like, I just love Mushoku Tensei's art when it comes to the light novel art. I think the name of the artist is Shirotaka, something like that. But yeah, no, their art is so good and it's like so detailed. Like, look at his clothes. Like, it just looks so good, man. It looks so good. He looks way younger in the light novel here. But yeah, it really does look good.
Upon how Rudy felt during all this. That said, it's definitely worth seeing just how important all this was for Rudy.
Yeah.
As for Eris's fight with Nina,
Getting
the
closure.
way she won was far more complex than you might think. The
Really?
novel describes every choice she made during it, and even goes
Ooh,
so
like
far.
a internal monologue thing. Okay, that was a crazy pause. But yeah, no, it was pretty fast. Like I said, it was pretty fast. I hoped that that whole Eris part was way longer because obviously Eris is my favorite character from the anime, but I think like it was like 3 minutes long. Galfarion asked the question like, "What's the most important thing?" And they all answered, and then we had the 1v1, which lasted a couple of seconds. It was still good, like it was still very hype, but like I said, it was like it's pretty fast. It was faster than I wished it was. I wished it was a little longer than that.
As to explain how it worked to make her Sword of Light faster than Nina's.
Mm.
And with the conversation prior explaining the secret to the Sword of Light altogether, this whole scene in the novel becomes so much more immersive.
Okay.
They really dig deep into why the Sword God style is what it is.
Okay.
So, whether it's the lore behind the action or the emotional growth Rudy had with Sarah, there's something for everyone in today's episode of Cut Content.
Let's get shit to it.
Now, speaking of characters who are given a second chance at life, I've got another great story recommendation from today's sponsor web
Ooh.
novel. This here,
There thing, get your money up.
episode 54, Another Domestic Disaster.
Another domestic
Covering
disaster.
chapter 10 from volume 13 of the light novel and the extra chapter from volume 14.
Oh, so okay, so I guess the Eris thing. Oh yeah, no. In next episode, fuck, I'm going on vacation. I'm happy that I'm going on vacation, but it's just bad timing because now, if that's an extra, if last episode had an extra of volume 14, that means that next episode we're gonna start with volume 14, which means that we are getting to hold the whole Perugius Nanahoshi storyline that I've been waiting for. We had to go through like no, not 6. I would say 4 episodes of just slice of life stuff because the first 2 was airs. But yeah, after 4 episodes of just slice of life, chilling, being happy, now we're gonna get into the pain and the suffering that we're gonna have to pay for because of all the happy shit that we had that we had to go through the past like couple episodes. Because like I said, the more you're happy, the more pain is gonna come after, especially when it comes to anime. So let's get straight to it. I'm really excited to come back next week though. I'm excited to go on vacation and then come back next week and just react to 2 episodes, 2 consecutive episodes, non-interrupted, of Mushoku Tensei. I'm really excited for that.
With the long, cold winter of Ranoa quickly returning, Rudy had already ensured his household was prepared for it.
Okay.
Plenty of firewood was stockpiled in the backyard.
They didn't talk about
and also
this.
preserved food stored in the basement. So he and his family were more than ready to hibernate, but before that time of calm, someone from his past would return. The whole circumstance of it was, as we saw, a result of Roxy's job.
Yeah.
The temporary position of hired guard for the Princess of Ranoa. For a bit more context on what this princess's journey was, it was a tradition.
I wanted to know more about this princess, and I also wanted to know about the warriors that were, like the Sarah's teammates, like the Amazonians, or whatever the fuck their name is. Especially the one that had the scar. I hope they talk about it in this video. But the one that had the scar had such a cool character design, and I want to know more about like how she got that scar and stuff.
Known throughout the country as the coming of age pilgrimage. You see, it was once the princess reached the age of majority that she was required to spend 6 months going around visiting a specific list of places within her country.
Okay.
Not many guards were permitted to follow her, and of the ones that were, the princess had to make her own arrangements.
That
it was
girl.
a rule that forced her to hire her own people.
I wonder if there was any reasoning to why that woman was looking down at Roxy when they were first introduced during the episode.
Her own way around and see the country with her own eyes.
Mm.
The intent being that hopefully the whole experience would help her develop into a better ruler.
Which
That's
is
not to say
stupid.
the princess
I
was
think.
completely on her own, though, since with the tradition being well known to everyone, many local mayors and governors made sure to try and keep her as safe as possible.
Which is
I
basically
mean,
like
it
it's
would be
just
terrible
easy
for the
mode.
reputation if a member of the royal family was injured in their own territory.
True.
So, the ages of every prince and princess were closely monitored. Also, the local authorities would know exactly when to expect royalty coming through.
Mm.
It's not like they were allowed to surround
I spoke about these from last episode, I think. Alright?
the princess with hundreds of bodyguards, but they were allowed to provide some upon the princess's request. So,
I'm sorry, they weren't from last episode. I just spoke about them when we were reacting to last episode.
princess was allocated a group of adventurers. That group's mage and healer had both
Yeah.
fallen ill simultaneously.
Okay.
Winter was fast approaching too, and with travel becoming increasingly difficult the closer it came, the pilgrimage had to continue as fast as possible.
Mm.
It's for that reason the mayor of Sharia held a conference to determine the most suitable replacement bodyguards, the role falling to none other than the well-traveled
Roxy.
former adventurer Roxy. You'd think
Makes
her and
sense.
Sylphie would be enough to defend anyone,
Makes
but with
sense.
Roxy not confident in her own ability,
I've been known to make some silly mistakes at the worst of times. Okay. I
she
guess that's
knew
Roxy.
having Rudy would help with her anxiety.
Mm.
He was, after
Some
all,
support.
the most powerful mage in the city, and with Sylphie
That
really
is
the
true.
only other person Roxy could rely on, it was only natural she'd be nervous without him.
Yeah.
Rudy was of course more than happy to help, since if everything went perfectly, he knew this would be a good way to boost Roxy's reputation. Perhaps even help her move up in the career ladder faster.
Get more money
it was when
on.
Roxy and
Get
Rudy
some
first
more
arrived
money.
at the job site that Roxy would be closely studied by the person
Glad they're talking about this. Why was she studying her? Was it just like paranoia? Or was it something else?
personal guard of the princess. It almost looked as if the guard wanted to say something, but seeing
yeah.
as how Ariel was grinning in the background, Rudy knew she'd probably told her not to.
Okay.
It's for good reason Ariel had done so too, since had the guard made some offhand comment about Roxy not being good enough,
Rudius would crash out. You can't talk about his goddess like that.
Rudy was ready to explode in a way that might have ended Roxy's career prospects right on the spot.
True.
Luckily, the guard
W.
held their
Ariel.
tongue, so until Amazon Ace arrived, things proceeded smoothly.
Amazon Ace.
Ariel and the princess had already become friends. The princess sad knowing Ariel was graduating and returning to her country next.
I've been forgetting the map.
Friends.
I've seen it
The
a long
princess
time
sad
ago, but
knowing Ariel was graduating and returning to.
okay. This is the map of the. I remember this. I remember seeing this on Reddit. It was the map of the journey that Richard, Rudius, and Dead End had to go through during season 1. But we're here now. I think we're pretty much here. So I guess next episode we're gonna come back to the Ashura Kingdom, because that's where the floating island is, right? Perugius, right?
To her country next year. So long as their countries stayed in contact, though, Ariel knew the two would meet again someday. Now, it was once Amazon Ace arrived that, between their argument, Rudy would notice a weapon rarely used by adventurers anymore.
Yeah, they
Since
don't.
arrows-
That's the thing though. They don't have classes or like, they don't really have like detailed classes or stuff to study about archery, right? Like for example, mage, you have Saint class water mage, you have fire mage, you have like king class and all that stuff, and then for swords as well, you have the sword god style. I think the other one is called water god style, north god style, and then I don't remember the fourth one, but like there's also like classes and styles for each of those like two things, like archery and magic and swordsmanship. But then archery is kind of like nobody like has any information about archery, or is it not like a known thing? Because he just said it now, not a lot of adventurers use it. So why is it still used? Like, why do people still use it? Do they just want to be different, or is it still like, because we saw that last episode, that one mage that was glazing Roxy threw a whole fireball at the bear, did not work, but then Sarah hit it in the eye with an arc, and that shit went right through and did some damage. So I don't understand why we don't have like classes and styles for archery.
Couldn't match the power of a sword or spell. Of all the time Rudy had spent adventuring, only once had he ever met a dedicated archer.
True.
She was probably the only one to exist in the entire region, so it was upon closer inspection that Rudy would realize it was her.
Yeah.
It was the girl Sarah he'd nearly slept with quite some time ago.
Nearly.
Well, the first part of the job went exactly as we saw. Roxy stealing the show with her perfect balance of offense and support, while Sylvie
Going
and
crazy.
Rudy just stood back doing nothing.
Going crazy.
Rudy had actually spent the entire time actively ignoring Sarah,
Yeah, we
thinking
saw that.
perhaps his discretion was what allowed the party to function so smoothly.
But no, it just
Really,
made
all
things
he
more
was doing
awkward.
was just avoiding digging up the past.
Yeah, he just
So,
didn't want to
Sarah, we
confront
already
that
know,
shit.
didn't like that, but even Sylvie had started glaring at Rudy too. Eventually, the silence surrounding him had become so overwhelming that Rudy was starting to think ignoring Sarah was a mistake.
You
The thing
think?
is, it's not like he'd have a problem just having a
And like Sarah
casual
was so mature about the whole situation. Like she just like didn't harbor any resentment. I spoke about this during reaction, but like that just surprised me so much how much she's grown as a person. Like she was introduced to us as like this like fake EIRS tsundere character that just hates Rudius for no reason, but then somehow ends up falling for him because she got saved by him. But now she's like actually mature as a person, even like calmer and stuff. I just it just surprised me.
conversation with her. He just feared that conversation devolving into a discussion about their past. The wounds regarding their breakup still felt raw, and with nothing else Rudy even wanted to say to her, avoidance was the only solution he'd come up with. He figured staying silent was better than causing a commotion. Sure, things were definitely awkward, but at least an uncomfortable atmosphere was something he could always apologize for.
Yeah.
What he didn't want was to ruin Roxy's promotion by creating conflict. It was when
Makes
Ariel and
sense.
Sylvie had set everything up for him that Rudy's confidence stemmed from the acknowledgement of his growth.
Yeah, they kind
Once
of
he'd remembered
forced
the
him
family
into that
he'd built
conversation,
and
which is
the
good.
obstacles he'd overcome to get here, that's when he realized just how ridiculous it was to be acting like a coward.
Yep, like a
So,
bitch ass
first,
nigga.
Rudy would start things off casually, talking about Counter Arrow and where they were now. In the novel, Rudy would actually be the one to ask if
I've been wondering what you and Patrice, were doing with yourselves. Do you know what happened to him?
Sarah knew what
Patrice is the guy with the green hair, right? Or is that guy dead? It's the other one. The one who got hit by the one who got his ass beat. The long hair, always got his eyes closed. I think that's the other one.
Patrice was up to, since between her and him, they were the two
Oh no, it's the warrior. Okay.
Rudy knew the least about. Turns out Sarah knew nothing.
Yeah, I thought like so this guy's dead, right? Mimir, I think. He's dead. Suzanne and Timothy got married, if I remember correctly. And I guess Patrice left to live his own life. And well, Sarah and obviously Rudy.
Nothing about him either, so as far as she was concerned, he was either still adventuring or dead somewhere. That's a pretty different conversation from the one Rudy had in the anime, since it's here Rudy was actually the one informing her what Patrice was up to.
Yeah.
I imagine her reaction after is her taking comfort in learning Patrice is okay, since if the novel and anime are consistent, she likely believed he was either adventuring or dead here too.
Yeah.
It was a great way for Rudy to open
Okay, so
her
that
up a bit,
changed, I
since
guess.
I'm sure that familiarity made talking a little bit easier.
I actually prefer the one in the anime where he kind of explains it, because it's not like I don't want them to just take too much time with that conversation, because we kind of don't care what Patrice has been up to. I barely remember the guy, so I'm just glad like Rudy has kind of give her the update. We see her have a good reaction to it, and then boom, move on to something more important.
Of course, nothing was easy about the apologies both were striving to make. One Sarah had been hoping to do for
Tell you the truth, I was planning to come by your house while we were in town. Okay. Damn, so even if we didn't meet her here and Rudy has just stayed at the crib, she could have just popped up and even met Suzanne and stuff.
quite some time now. She'd even come up with a plan to visit Rudy at his house and apologize in person.
Damn.
As soon as she'd learned from Suzanne that he was living here in Sharia, Sarah had told herself she was gonna take some time off and see Rudy. Yet, now that they were finally face to face, here she was snapping at Rudy all over again.
True.
She was unhappy with the way she
didn't snap. She just had, she was just like, okay. Like, she kind of, obviously she could also be mad at the reason, like, the fact that he was just ignoring her a couple minutes ago.
couldn't bring herself to apologize. Well, eventually that apology would come out, and with it the truth behind how Rudy really felt. As direct as Rudy could be, he would admit to using Sarah as a means of getting
Yeah, I actually like that. I actually like the fact that he actually wasn't really attracted to her. It's just that he was trying to use her as a rebound. I was just using you. I didn't feel that strongly about you, but I guess I wanted to move on.
over EIRS. With the way Sarah was being so honest herself, Rudy felt it only fair that he reciprocate those feelings by speaking his own truth. For sure, Rudy thought Sarah was gonna get mad, but just like him, she was receiving everything as openly as he was.
Yeah,
In
it was
the
a
end,
very
their
mature
direct
conversation.
communication would lead to the root of why they could never work. Sarah simply not connecting on that same emotional level that Sylphie and Roxy did.
Yeah, she was just like,
All
I'm
of it
not.
was enough to give
you
both
know.
of them closure. A great end to a mature conversation with the character I'm sure not many were expecting to return.
That's a cool panel.
So, when all was said and done, this moment was actually quite pivotal to Rudy's character because at its core it played a vital role in helping him take accountability for who he was in the past. Rudy recognized before he was this boy who kept people distant in order to protect himself, but now he saw himself capable of engaging with others sincerely. His time with Sarah also helped him reflect on why their relationship ended up
40 years later.
in failure, allowing Rudy to see the true weight of love with his other wives. Where theirs was a lot more superficial, Sylphie and Roxy's were forged in moments of extreme vulnerability.
Yeah.
So, while Sarah's character may not have been around for very long, her role in molding Rudy is still extremely important. It was after their reconciliation that Rudy
She also had a positive effect on Rudy. It's just they didn't bond the same way Sylvie and Roxy and Eris bonded with Rudy is.
Interact normally with Sarah, choosing to approach her with a mix of how he'd usually approach Linnea, Prasenna, and Nanahoshi.
Yeah.
Sarah was also much more comfortable too. Her performance greatly improved as a result. Where before she was a lot more hot-headed with the choices she made, now
Yeah.
she was actively directing the flow of the battlefield with great efficiency and
Yeah, she was just calm, cool, and
She was very
collected.
clearly a veteran adventurer now.
She would build
The rest
different.
of the
I
job
fuck
would
with that.
continue without any issue, bringing an end to Amazon Ace's job in Sharia. When
Then
the
they
party
probably
had
just
made
left.
a half-hearted effort to recruit Roxy, had
Yeah,
Roxy expressed
she was
just
not
the
happening.
slightest interest, then Rudy was ready to initiate his clinging and blubbering defense.
Yeah.
It was a move as embarrassing as it sounded, but when it came to keeping Roxy, dignity didn't matter to him. Now, when it came to Rudy's conversation with Roxy and
We're getting close to the nitty gritty. I cannot wait to see what the fuck they cut from the Eris part.
Sylvie after, Sylvie was mature enough to know exactly the type of person she'd married. It's for that reason she never accepted Rudy's promise to begin with, and
Yeah, no,
instead
you can tell, like, she didn't even have to say it. You can see it in her face. As soon as Rudy made that promise of, like, oh, I promise you I'm not gonna bring in another wife, she's like, nigga, what the fuck are you lying to? Because you're not lying to me. She knew. She was like, nigga, I know you a pervert. I knew you, father. Like father, like son. Come on, bruh.
make another one. It was a clear sign that she'd definitely grown a lot since where before she would have been a lot more passive, now it seemed she possessed enough self-confidence to demand certain things.
Yeah.
So, with the anime heavily hinting at who Rudy's next wife could be, now we get to a chapter
We
at
know.
the end of volume 14.
Like, we know. They don't even have to hint it.
Here we have 3 sword saints well on their way to becoming sword
The
kings.
big 3.
Gino the most anxious as he was quickly becoming overwhelmed by an emotion he couldn't even begin to describe.
Love?
All he knew was that whatever sensation he was feeling, as difficult as it
For
was
Na-
to hold down,
for
it
Nina?
wasn't a bad one. It was when Gal first asked his
What do you think separates a sword saint, a sword king, and a sword emperor?
question that Nina's immediate response was strength. Everyone else believed the answer to be the same, yet at the same time they all knew it wasn't that simple.
Yeah.
Clearly, Gal was asking what it was that came after strength. So, Gal would then ask Nina what it was her teacher had taught her.
Passion,
A person you might be
right?
surprised to know
That's what
wasn't
she said,
him.
I think.
That's right. Gal wasn't the one who mentored Nina, but rather it was Gino's father, Timothy.
That's Gino's father? I mean, yeah, they actually look very similar. But I didn't even pay attention to that. I wonder who he is. Is he like the father of somebody, or is he just, a really strong, I mean, now that I think about it, Gino has some big shoes to fill because this guy is like, he's the right hand man of, I guess these two are like really like just under Galfarion in terms of maybe strength, if I had to guess. So it shows how much potential and pressure Gino has.
Was a man who'd first taught her to train with her left hand. Nina had always been right-hand dominant, but unless she could master the sword with her left hand, Timothy told her she would never be able to release the Sword of Light. Why is that the case? Well, that's because the non-dominant hand played a very important role in the Sword of Light's technique.
Okay.
Because using it often required tensing one's dominant hand in the process,
Okay.
that would naturally cause the blade to shift to the side.
Till this day, this is probably the best Sword of Light sequence we've ever had. I know we've had a couple in season 3, but this one, they never reached this level of just animation and peak and excitement.
The thing is, with the Sword of Light requiring a clean straight cut amassing all of one's battle aura, an uneven distribution
Aura.
of pressure in the hands would work against that. So, training the non-dominant hand develops a balanced control of sorts, allowing the user to stabilize and guide the sword in a way that the dominant hand doesn't overpower the motion.
Makes sense.
The idea of it was actually incredibly simple, but that was the innermost secret of the Sword of Light technique. Where other swordsmen focused on cutting down their targets by surprising their opponents with unpredictable attacks,
North
it was
God
the first
style.
sword god who decided he would simply beat everyone by being faster than them. He didn't need tricks in order to win.
Just be
Instead,
fast.
He would just win by moving faster than his opponent could react.
Just be
It
fast.
was each sword god after who worked to slow
But obviously that wouldn't work against Dragon God Orsted.
fully unravel the inexplicable technique this first sword god had created, ultimately resulting in the current form we see today. And it was once you understood all
we got
this
some
that
lore.
the principle behind the Sword of Light became incredibly easy to understand. In fact, it was so simple that pretty much anyone with a little talent could easily learn to wield it.
Yeah, that's why
That's
I
what
don't think it's like that impressive when they were talking about it. I think during episode 1 when they were like, "Oh, why is she a sword saint? She can't even," like when Galfarion said that from today onward EIRS is a sword saint, I think. And then some dumbass motherfucker pulled up and he was like, "Oh, but sir, she doesn't even know the Blade of Light." I was like, "Bro, 2 of the kids that EIRS just beat know apparently how to do that shit. I don't think it's that hard." You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it's that hard.
Where the sword god style was considered the strongest, the work of the first sword god
Okay, that I didn't know. Sword God style being the strongest, I didn't know.
and his predecessors unlocking this ultimate technique of theirs. So, to sum it all up and tie it back to why the non-dominant hand was so important,
But it makes sense from the
mastering
name.
both hands
Sword God
essentially
style.
kept the attack aligned. It prevented any sort of sideways deviation, which, if included when attempting the Sword of Light, would waste force, reduce speed, and undermine the fundamental principle defining the Sword of Light. I mean, the whole point was, after all, to create an attack so fast the opponent couldn't
Unpredictable.
react or dodge it.
Yep.
That was the core principle defining what the Sword of Light was, but with everyone Sword Sainted up already knowing that, what Gal wanted to know was what it was that wanted to differentiate these ranks further. Gino was the first to answer, but with all his answers nowhere close,
Think logically, move skillfully, body strength, weapon quality. He just said weapon, I think, in the anime.
Gal suggested he might have to
But all of these make sense.
return to the basics. The
Damn.
answer Gino had wanted to give was actually talent, but he knew something so simple definitely wasn't what Gal was looking for.
Yeah, it was too
They
pussy to
were,
say it.
after all, discussing the very intricacies of talent. Nina, on the other hand, understood what Gal was really asking was what separated her from those who outranked her, deducing it had to be something Sword Kings had that she did not. For a
Passion?
brief moment, she came to the conclusion that it had to be life partners, something she wanted herself and even envisioned with Gino.
So
That's
she
what
does. Okay, so they're not official. Like, they're not an actual couple, but they like each other, and everybody around them knows that they like each other, besides themselves. Okay, because even her father brought that shit up.
Her to her answer of desire, a choice that wasn't necessarily incorrect, but unfortunately not enough to get her to where she wanted. It was when she had chosen becoming a Sword King over marrying Gino that's when Nina realized she'd made a mistake. By choosing the rank of Sword King, she'd unknowingly shown the limits of her own desire, and that made clear she'd misunderstood the whole point of her answer.
Damn.
Where the highest level swordsmen were driven.
Like, what if she would have said both? Like, what if she was like, because if Galfarion asked Eris, would you rather marry Rudius or become Sword Emperor or Sword God? I think Eris probably would have been like both, and then Galfarion would have been like, "Oh, you gotta choose one," and she would have said, "No, I don't care. I'm choosing both. I'm gonna do both. I'm a brute force that shit." Like, that's the type of person Eris is, and I think Nina should have, like, the right answer would have been, oh, both, like marry Gino and become Sword Emperor. But yeah, obviously she made the mistake of saying I just want to be, live by the sword and all that bullshit.
By a desire unshakable no matter what, Nina's disregard of her own desire for rank showed she wasn't quite there yet. So her answer was naive due to her desire not existing independently from the external ranks that ultimately meant nothing. Eris, on the other hand, gave an answer born from her experience with Orsted, the memories of her futile efforts burning deeply in the back of her head as she said it. Yes, she'd become stronger since then, but even now she knew she wasn't even close to Orsted's level.
True.
If anything, all she learned was that no matter how hard she trained, she'd never be able to beat Orsted. At least not on her own anyway. Perhaps if she fought Orsted with Rudius though, Eris started to think maybe they could win together.
Perhaps.
With her sword skills
Perhaps.
and his magic, even if she had to sacrifice herself by pinning Orsted down, Eris believed they could win. her dying didn't even matter, since so long as Rudy won, that was a win for both of them.
Wow, she's willing to
She didn't
sacrifice
even mind
herself
losing out on a future together with him, since
for
all her
Rudius.
resolve was focused on defeating this one single opponent. If she was to dwell on a future beyond that, then EIRS knew she'd lose her edge with the sword. And a dull sword only meant that both of them would die.
Yeah.
So, EIRS was determined to make sure only she lost her life, an outcome she had resigned herself to following no matter what.
So that's her plan? Sacrifice herself for Rudius to just deal the killing blow to Orsted? That's the plan? Alright.
Now, the battle with Nina was pretty much as we saw. Nina completely different from the first time they'd fought.
Yeah, no,
Though
she
that
held her own.
experience was incredibly embarrassing.
Yeah.
Nina no longer held any hatred towards EIRS.
Well, I mean,
She
we
was,
know
after
that.
all, the reason she'd been able to become stronger.
Yeah, she
EIRS
respects
helping her to
EIRS.
discard her pride and immerse herself in her training. In fact, if anything, you could say her humiliation was what motivated her. It was ever since that they'd dueled time and time
I'm kind of
again.
sad that we didn't see her
Nina win.
during the... Sorry. Kind of sad that we didn't see the
was ever
Water God
since-
style girl during that whole sequence. Wonder where she was. If she, like, out of town or anything.
Since that they'd dueled time and time again. Nina winning ever so often, but
Woo!
EIRS coming out on top more times than not.
Yeah.
And it was every time EIRS did win that the expression on her face showed the exact same that Nina saw now.
Yep.
It was a disturbing smile that hid the intentions of a predator. Now, normally
Just
EIRS
scary.
would be the one to strike first, but for the first time ever, she would actually wait.
She waited.
Nina knew she couldn't.
And
use
Nina actually hit, like, Eris on the arm. It's just that, you know, not enough strength. And they said it multiple times. Nina might be faster, but Eris is stronger. Right? So Nina might be fast enough to hit Eris, but Eris is just gonna tank that shit and hit her twice as hard.
any water god style techniques, but if she was waiting to counter, then that meant she was probably hoping to use a north god style one. Nina wasn't gonna fall for the bait though, so until Gal had said something, both remained completely still.
Yeah.
Now, you'd think it was Nina who had acted first, but it was actually both who moved at the exact same time.
Really?
Where Nina initiated with what could only be described as an optimal sword of light, Eris stepped forward, dropped her body low, and released her own sword of light from the side.
Without
And
any momentum, without running, without nothing, literally sword of light, while standing like where she was. She didn't even move. She stepped, like, I think he said, like, one step, and then she went low, but she didn't run like you usually do when you hit the whole sword of light technique, right?
Normal battle, this should have won Nina the duel, but despite Nina's attacks being more powerful and faster, Eris had used a North God style technique to achieve something even greater. Yes, Nina's attack was initiated from the fast.
So it was an accumulation of all the techniques, not techniques, but like the styles. Because he said it here. She used, well, at least Nina thought that she was gonna use Water God style, but she didn't.
Disposition possible, and while
She
yes,
used
it should
North
have landed
God
before
style
Eris's
and
attack
Sword
from
of
the
Light.
side, Eris had used a North God style technique to divert power from the Sword of Light and transform it into speed. For a
Whoa,
duel
that's
like this,
crazy.
the full power of the Sword of Light wasn't needed, so by keeping her attack just lethal enough to knock Nina down,
Is that
Eris
technically
put
just her
everything else
own
into making
technique?
her execution just milliseconds faster.
Is
The
that
amount
just
of
her own
power
technique?
She gave up definitely wasn't worth the amount of speed she gained, but in this specific scenario,
Insane.
it worked perfectly to ensure her victory.
Damn.
So, with that, Eris had earned herself the title as Sword King.
Sword King
Here,
Ash.
Gal would actually go on to reward Eris further, but with his next words being extremely significant, I can't imagine they'd leave it out of the anime.
So they're probably
It's
gonna
something
show
I
it
really hope
later.
we get to see in a future episode.
I really do
That's
as
pretty
well.
much it for this episode, though. So if you enjoyed
Thank
what you saw
you.
and wanna
Shout
see
out to
more,
Aninews.
be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes, sir.
Now,
Okay, in hindsight, it doesn't seem like we missed a lot. It's just that details and certain things were changed, like the conversation at the beginning of the conversation between Rudius and Sarah, and also how fucking detailed the actual fight between Nina and Eris was. But yeah, appreciate you adding news content. Really good video. And yeah, hope you guys liked this video. Hope it made your day better. I'll see you guys later. Peace.